Okay, this is episode 12C. Thank you for tagging along if you're still tagging along. Okay, we got Baylor, number one seed, versus Norfolk State, number 16. Really don't have much to say here. I think Baylor pretty much dominates. They have four players that average double digits. They have a really balanced attack. They have experience in the tournament. They won it last year. A lot of new faces. Sometimes you can get that hangover after you win the tournament, but a lot of new faces on the team. I think that they win this pretty handedly.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Baylor, they just came off of conference tournament laws. I think they're going to be, their urgency level is going to be a lot higher. So
Agreed.
Baylor.
Okay, we got number 8 UNC versus number 9 Marquette. This is a tricky one for me. I think that it could go either way. Just before we get into this game specifically, the reason I've talked about being a Duke fan. The reason that I'm wearing this UNC jersey is because shout out Gabby Jonas. She was a softball player for Drake University. She passed away a few days ago, and it was a really tough loss, for the Drake community, the Drake softball community. She was an amazing person. I knew her from our Spanish classes together, and she was a huge diehard UNC fan. I'm obviously a diehard Duke fan, so we kept in touch by talking trash here and there. So it's really devastating news. I want to dedicate, all this March Madness stuff to her. I think she would really enjoy it. But just getting back into to UNC Duke here, I think I'm going to go with UNC for obvious reasons here. I trust Marquette and Shaka Smart in the tournament, but I think UNC just overpowers them and beats them here.
I don't know if I trust Shaka. He lost in the first round to like Abilene Christian last year when he was at Texas, but he did go to a Final Four, so I will acknowledge that. But I agree with North Carolina. I think North Carolina's been playing really good basketball. I know they lost to Virginia Tech in the tournament, right?
Yeah.
So besides that game, they were actually playing really, really well. And as Craig Breen, 8-2, I think Hubert Davis gets a good first tournament win in his first year.
Yeah, I mean they dominated Duke, which was upsetting on Coach K's last home game, but UNC deserved it. UNC played really well down the stretch, like you mentioned, 8-2 in the last 10. I like UNC to stay hot here and to beat Marquette.
Okay, next one, Indiana St. Mary's. The reason I wanted to introduce this one, I think Indiana wins this game. We've heard Craig loves the 5-12s. Indiana's got that they got a first round pick. I forgot his last name. He had a big game last night. I like those type of players in first round tournament settings, and usually a team who plays in the first four gets hot and makes a run. In the last couple of years, like UCLA played in the first four last year, made a run in the Final Four. Not saying Indiana's going to do that, but like we said earlier, Rutgers is one of those teams, and I think Indiana is one of those teams as well that has that possibility. So I like Indiana against St. Mary's, 12/5 first round.
I agree. I like Indiana here. I was waiting to fill out my bracket before that Indiana-Wyoming game, but I like Indiana over St. Mary's. Much tougher schedule during the regular season. Big Ten is a gauntlet. Trace Jackson Davis, number 23.
Yeah,
Keep an eye on
yep.
that guy. He's a stud. Keep an eye on him. He looks like a Muppet, but he's a very good basketball player.
That's just not, you're not wrong.
I like the pick. Go Hoosiers.
Number 4.
My most confident pick. Hold on. My most confident pick is this game against the spread. I don't think Akron's very good, and I think UCLA, they're a tough offensive team. Even though you see that they're 4-4 against the top 25. Yeah, Craig's wearing a UCLA shirt. I just don't think Akron's very good, and I think UCLA is underseeded.
Yeah, I agree. I think UCLA is pretty underseeded. They've tripped up a couple times this year, but they've also had a lot of injuries. Keep an eye on Johnny Juzang. He's going to make another push in the tournament. This team has a lot of experience in the tournament. They made a run from the first four all the way to the Final Four, as we saw from last year, and they almost beat Gonzaga. So they're a team that belongs. They have pretty much all those players from last year's roster. Jaime Jaquez, number 24, Johnny Juzang, number 3, Tiger Campbell, number 10, Jules Bernard, number 1. Those are all players that are studs, and they're going to play well in the tournament, I think.
They're destined for greatness this year.
I believe so as well. I think a lot of people are overlooking them because of their seed, but I got number 6 Texas versus number 11 Virginia Tech here. Tough matchup for me to pick. I'm leaning Virginia Tech. They're hot right now. They blew through the ACC tournament and dominated a tough UNC team in the semifinal, and then a tough Duke team, as we know, in the final. They're a tough team. They've been hot. They've been playing well. Notre Dame's another tough team as well. They played really well in the ACC tournament, which makes me feel more confident for them. I just realized that they don't have Buzz Williams anymore. He's on the coach of Texas A&M, but I'm picking Virginia Tech just due to their hotness down the stretch.
I like Virginia Tech. but I think Chris Beard, he's so good in the tournament. I don't think he's ever lost in the first round. I think he's always gotten to the Sweet 16 at least. So that's why I have Texas. And then another thing, I don't think the ACC schools have played a Texas Big 12 defense. Chris Beard, great defensive coach. That's why I got them. I like Virginia Tech. And then this isn't a good rationale, but this is one of those games where everyone's picking Virginia Tech to where that's why I don't want to pick it.
I get that. I just have like
it's a tough one, and I'm like, it's a tough one. Craig, you're gonna have to decide on this one.
This is tough.
I'm gonna add a little bit more here. I have so little faith in Texas is my problem and my hesitation. But like you said, I do like Chris Beard. They have a couple really good players, number 1 and number 2. Andrew Jones to be number 1, Marcus Carr number 2. They're really good guards that can score the rock, and that's why I like Texas. But I just favor Virginia Tech due to my history and my tainted memory of Texas in the tournament. So this is a really tough one.
Well, and then Texas has a guy, I think Andrew Jones, someone told me, a Texas fan, that he was like with his dog and he had to go to the emergency room because his dog like bit his hand. So he played a game like with a broken hand. It's hard to shoot with a broken hand. So maybe because of that reason, because of that dog bite, we got to go Virginia Tech.
Most punchable face in NCAA, Brock Cunningham, number 30 on Texas. Keep an eye on that guy.
Okay. I'll keep
going Virginia Tech.
Oh, yeah, Virginia Tech.
Most compelling argument of the
day. We got number 3 Purdue versus number 14 Yale. Those nerds for Yale, I don't think can keep up with Purdue and the star power that they have. Purdue really scares me in the March Madness tournament every single year. They've been upset year in and year out. They lost to Arkansas Little Rock a couple years back, but they have so many good players. Zach Edey, number 15, which is like the Yao Ming of college basketball. Jaden Ivey, number 23, one of my favorite players in college basketball. Sasha Stefanovic, number 55, some foreign dude that just twacks threes like it's his day job. Mason Gillis, number 0. Trayvon Williams, number 50. I just think Purdue's loaded. I'm picking Purdue in a rout.
Yale upset somebody in the conference tournament. Yale's not that great a team, and it's the physicality of Purdue. Too tough to match Purdue.
Purdue's dangerous, but
did Yale win their conference tournament?
They did, but they weren't that. They made a run at the end. They didn't win the regular season.
19-11 Yale over Drake is some BS, but anyways,
they won their conference. Yeah.
All right, we got number 7 Murray State versus number 10 San Francisco. Super interesting matchup here. Take a look at Murray State's record. 30-2. Murray State is a really tough team that a lot of people aren't talking about, but I think that they are poised to make a pretty decent run in the tournament, and they're a great pick to be a Cinderella throughout this tournament. I think they handle San Francisco, who's also a really solid team. I think they handle them pretty well here first round.
I agree with you, but I think the main thing is we picked against Loyola for leaving the Valley, and Murray State's joining the Missouri Valley, so we got to pick Murray State. Yeah,
shout out Murray State joining the Valley. Their team is really underseeded, in my opinion. I think they deserve to be a higher seed, 30-2, no matter what conference you're in. I think that's ridiculous to put them as a 7 seed. It reminds me a lot of 2016 women's basketball for Drake, really underseeded number 10 seed going in, and it just had an unfair advantage there. But
it's crazy.
Murray State moves on. Okay, what do we got here? Number 2 Kentucky versus number 15 St. Peter's. The Peacocks. Really tough for me to go against the Peacocks here. Great name, but I'm gonna have to go Kentucky. I think they have the star power. They have the young talent. Player of the year candidate Oscar Tshiebwe to Tshiebwe. I don't know how you say it. Number 34. He's a dominant post player. I think they have enough talent, enough skill to move on here.
I like Kentucky as well.
Not much to add. I mean, it's Kentucky as a Coach Cal. I think he's going to take him to the next round. Baylor versus UNC. Interesting matchup. I think Baylor edges them, but I think it's going to be a close game. I just don't think UNC has enough star power this year that like they usually do to keep up with Baylor. But I could see Baylor tripping up and UNC getting the upset here. So what do you think, Josh?
I'm with you. I actually think that's going to be a really good game. But like I said, Baylor edges them just based off low. I don't know how good UNC is offensively, but Baylor's really good defensively, and they can still score pretty high at a pretty high clip. So I'm thinking Baylor in a very close one.
I would agree.
I like Baylor too.
We got Indiana versus UCLA. Tough one. I think Indiana can make a run in this tournament for sure. I think UCLA can trip up in this tournament for sure. But like I said earlier, I love the star power for UCLA. I love the experience that they have. They came into the season, I think, top 3 ranking. A lot of high predictions and expectations for them. They haven't lived up to it quite yet. They're 4-4 versus top 25 teams, as you can see. But I think that their star power just overwhelms Indiana. I think that they have, Indiana has that really good Muppets player that I mentioned, but besides that, I don't think they can keep up with UCLA.
See, I in my bracket, I had Indiana winning because I think that whatever the Muppet guy's name is, I think he's like the Johnny Juzang of this tournament, and he kind of gets his team to the second weekend based off a run.
Trace Jackson Davis.
Jackson Davis.
Shout out Trace Jackson Davis. But
yeah, he's got a long name. Can't fit that on the back.
I just don't see him being able to carry them to the next round. I think that they made a great push, beating Wyoming in the first 4, and then winning that first round game in the upset over St. Mary's. But I don't see them beating UCLA.
I think UCLA just has too much talent.
Too much talent. Moves on. He's wearing a UCLA jersey. Josh, what do you expect?
But I do like UCLA. I think it's gonna be a good game, kind of like the Baylor North Carolina game. I don't have any gripes with that, honestly.
Okay. Number 11 Virginia Tech versus number 3 Purdue.
Virginia Tech, Purdue's a terrible tournament team. Like they lost first round last year, North Texas. Like they're just not a good tournament team. And then by your logic, Virginia Tech's a hot team. Didn't the Virginia Tech players say they knew they were going to win before even playing Duke? They said that. I could have sworn I heard one of them say that in an interview. So when you call your shots like that, I'm going to go Virginia Tech.
I just think Virginia Tech's luck ends here. I think Purdue's star power is going to be overwhelming. I'm trying not to taint my brain with the years past, because you're right. Purdue is really struggling in the tournament. They come into the tournament, with a good seed. They have a good, solid team, and then they struggle and they lose and get upset. But
is Virginia Tech a 3-point shooting team?
They have this one 3-point shooter. I think he started the game against Duke in the ACC championship, 6 for 6 from 3. Couture or something like that.
I just think Purdue, they just play too old school ball to where they just throw it inside to that Davion Williams. And I know that Jaden Ivey guys can score, but then they rely too much on that Zach Edey. I think we got to pick one double-digit seed. That's why I'm thinking Virginia Tech.
All right,
I'm with you, Josh. Top 5 3-point shooting team.
Yeah, I mean that's a recipe for disaster, like Craig was saying. Craig was cooking up something in the kitchen, and this is what he's cooking.
Okay, this is a really, really good one to talk about here. Murray State versus Kentucky. I think a lot of people are going to be surprised with this one, but I have Murray State beating Kentucky in an upset, going to the Sweet 16. What are you guys' thoughts?
I actually, in my bracket, I had Kentucky, but this one is tough because I will admit Kentucky's not playing well as recently, and Murray State, when you are so used to winning, it's almost like it sets the expectation, like for like an organization, it sets the tone for their team. I think they come out hot. It's Murray State, if I'm not mistaken, is in Kentucky, isn't it?
I think so.
So they're going to be hyped up to play. I mean, this is the big school.
This is their Super Bowl.
This is their Super Bowl. Indianapolis.
These are the guys that
Craig's taking them too. So we got Murray State.
We got 7-11 in the Sweet 16.
These are the guys that didn't get recruited by Kentucky. They got a chip on their shoulder. They're ready to go. I think Kentucky's overrated. I think a lot of people have them going to the Final Four, even the championship. I don't see it happening. I think Murray State upsets them.
Yep, I agree. This is the region where the magic happens.
Yeah, this region is chaos, I think. UCLA, Baylor, 1 versus 4. I think UCLA edges Baylor here. Baylor's had a couple bad losses throughout the year. I think that they've surprised me this year. I thought they would take a huge drop. I think they lost like 3 of their top players from last year to the draft. But I think UCLA has a lot of star power. They have a lot of experience coming back. Mick Cronin is a good coach that knows how to win in the tournament. As you can see from last year, I think that they edge Baylor here.
I agree. Usually a 1 seed, and I'm just statistically, if you look at like the past like 20 or 30 brackets, there's always a 1 seed that loses pretty early. I think Baylor's a good team, but they don't have a go-to guy. I think UCLA has a go-to guy in Johnny Juzang. So I'm taking UCLA.
I like it.
Virginia Tech, Murray State. I think if it comes down to this matchup, I'm picking Murray State to keep riding. That's all I got.
I like Murray State too. In this. I think Virginia Tech, that's winning how many games in how many days, that's a big ass. So Murray State.
And I like, if this happens to be the Elite Eight matchup, I like Murray State's luck to end. I think UCLA wins this one.
Again, I don't know. I think Murray State's a good team. I like, and usually I like a Cinderella. I'm going Murray State.
So the Final Four?
Yeah, Murray State, the Final Four, bold boys.
I know Craig's a big upset guy, so he's going to pick Murray State, I bet. But I just don't see Murray State being able to hold up with UCLA's talent.
Murray State barely lost. I mean, apples to oranges in the early season basketball, but Murray State played Auburn really, really close at Auburn. So they have experience playing Power 5 teams, in my opinion, if I had to argue for them. But again, we don't even know if this is the matchup, folks. So
Oh, it's gonna be. And
It's gonna
UCLA is
be-
gonna win.
so UCLA is going to win. Okay, there we go. Back-to-back Final Fours.
Okay, good. Let's move
Midwest.
on to the Midwest, our last but not least of the regions here.
We don't even have to talk about Kansas. Josh can talk about Kansas next round.
Okay, Kansas over Texas Southern.
And then the next
Unless you
one, I
wanted
have-
to talk about something about that.
No,
one.
I don't. I haven't, dude. I don't really watch that much basketball anymore, to be honest.
Dude, we're like an hour and a half into this episode.
hey, I gotta be honest. I've only watched 3 games this year. I don't even have cable, so I have San Diego State winning this game. San Diego State.
Dude, hold on. We literally brought you into this episode as our college basketball expert, and you're going to tell everybody that you watched 3 games.
I've kept up with the scores and stuff, but like I just don't have time to watch the games.
Okay, yeah, he's too busy. All right, he's too busy. He's in graduate school. He's got things going on. He's got to ride his Rogue Echo bike and all that kind of stuff. So we got number 8 San Diego State versus number 9 Creighton. What do you think, Josh?
Creighton made a good run recently, but San Diego State, they have like a lot of like Power 5 transfers into their school, and they play in the Mountain West tough conference. Really good defense. You see that they only allow 57 points a game. I like San Diego State personally in this one. Again,
Yeah,
8-9's tough. 8-9s are tough.
8-9's tough. The guys watched 3 games all year. Creighton's been really electric towards the end of the year. They can make a lot of threes. They can shoot the ball. They have a lot of talent. They got Doug McDermott at the helm as the coach. I think that they have
Greg
enough.
McDermott.
Greg, not Doug. Yeah, Doug's the son. Greg McDermott as the coach. Thank you. They have transfer from Duke, Alex O'Connell. Shout out Alex O'Connell. I think he's going to shoot the lights out in this tournament. He's a player to keep an eye on, number 5 for you folks that don't really watch a lot of college basketball. But I got Creighton beating San Diego State here.
9 seed, extra point seeding. We're going with the 9 seed.
Okay. Iowa versus Richmond. I think Iowa wins this pretty handily. I think Richmond's trash. I'll be completely honest. I think they're an NIT team that somehow snuck into the tournament. I think Iowa's really deep. I think Iowa can shoot the ball. I think Iowa's the hottest team in the country right now. Iowa wins this handily.
I got Iowa. Richmond, like I was saying earlier, Richmond upset Dave. The reason I didn't like Davidson earlier is because they lost to Richmond. So by that logic, I got to go with Iowa.
Yep.
Okay. Number 4, Providence. Number 13, South Dakota
Providence
State.
is one of the luckiest teams in the nation. If you read a 538 article on them, I don't know if Craig.
I love
Craig-
538. Yeah.
Okay, I don't know if Craig's read that article. They go, Greg, scroll down please, and then look at like last 10 games for Providence.
I think I'll be completely honest. I think Providence is trash.
Okay, so
there
I
you
got South Dakota State. I just look how much Providence they lost by, like, in the Big East tournament. I thought they lost by like 30 to somebody.
They lost
Maybe
to
it
Creighton
doesn't show.
by Creighton blew them out.
Yeah, Creighton blew them out, and for that reason,
They-
like,
They went on like a 35-2 run or something like that.
yeah, and to be a 4 seed in your last game, you lost in 35-2 run, and look how many close games they played recently. South Dakota State, 18-0 conference. They haven't lost in like 2 months. Like, they actually have a kid from Lawrence, Kansas on their team. So for that reason, I'm going South Dakota State.
I think South Dakota State in the
13 over 4. We got
13
2
over 4. That's a big one.
Let's go.
I think South Dakota State wins this pretty handily. They're 18-0 in the Summer League this year. They're on a 21-game win streak. So
Yeah.
I think they keep that win streak alive. I think Providence is a tough draw for them against South Dakota State, but I think Providence is a fluke. Okay, we got LSU versus Iowa State, number 6 versus 11.
This will be probably the most boring game of the tournament. These two teams are terrible. LSU's coach just got fired. The game's in Milwaukee. Iowa State fans travel well. I'm going Iowa State.
I'm going Iowa State as well. I think they do the 11 over 6 upset. Keep an eye on player to watch, Isaiah Brockington, number 1 for ISU. He's a really good guard. He can score the basketball like nobody else. He's got a couple games where he's had 30 points or more this game. I think he's going to carry the team kind of like a Kemba Walker on UConn type deal. I'm going ISU over LSU, 11 over 6.
ISU with the 69th strength of schedule. Nice. ISU.
Nice. Wisconsin versus Colgate, literally a toothpaste brand. I think Wisconsin wins this pretty handily. I don't know anything about them. I know Wisconsin has experience in 7th-year senior Brad Davison, number 34, and a lot of talent in Johnny Davis, number 1. Tyler Wall surprised me, number 5 as well, the big man for Wisconsin. So I'm thinking Wisconsin handles Colgate, the toothpaste brand, pretty handedly. And look for Chucky Hepburn, number 23, to make some big shots.
Chucky Hepper, what a name. I really want to pick Colgate because Colgate, like, they have a lot of guys returning from last year and they almost upset Arkansas last year in the tournament. But the game's in Milwaukee, basically a home game for Wisconsin. I have to pick Wisconsin, even though it pains me. But
I hate the Badgers. I'll just be completely transparent, but I think that
it's one of those ones
in the tournament. They're always solid in the tournament.
It's one of those ones. I just think the matchup works too well for them.
Yeah, I don't think Colgate stands a chance. Number 7 USC versus number 10 Miami. Josh literally said Miami's trash earlier this episode. But I'm going to say kind of on the opposite point. I think USC wins this game, but I think it's because USC is solid. I think Miami's a decent team, but I think USC with Isaiah Mobley, number 3, his brother Evan Mobley in the NBA and the Cavs, he's playing a really good season this year as a rookie. Drew Peterson, a.k.a. Nigel Thornberry, Google it, number 13. He looks exactly like him. Boogie Ellis, transfer from Duke, number 0. He's a solid player as well. I think USC wins this one pretty handedly.
I got USC, and then quick story. I was at, when Drake played in Orlando, I went down to those games, so I guess I watched more than 3 games. When me and my mom walked in the stadium, and let's pretend we were Miami fans, we would have increased the amount of Miami fans there by like 40%. That's how little fans there were there.
That's pretty pathetic, and it was in Orlando.
Yeah. I mean, but there's plenty more things to do in Miami rather than watch basketball. So
yeah, shout out Jim Larrañaga though, great coach.
Yeah, good coach. So, but I agree with you. I think USC is a good team. Craig already picked Auburn, so we got Auburn.
Yeah,
Auburn just coming off a loss. Auburn's gonna win.
Watch out for Walker Kessler, number 13, and Jabari Smith, number 10, possibly the best player in the tournament. I think Auburn wins easily. What do we got? Kansas Creighton. Let's not play around and
No, this one was interesting because I actually had San Diego State beating KU in my bracket because I think KU gets a little stuck sometimes on offense. But if it's KU versus Creighton, they basically the same teams as last year. They played last year and KU won. I think KU probably has a better matchup against Creighton. And I think KU wins.
I think KU rolls. I think KU has a solid team. Ochai Abaji, number 30. He's a really, really good player. He's a first-team All-American. Christian Braun, number 2, can hit a lot of threes. Jalen Wilson. Brown. Why is it spelled like Braun?
I don't know. It is pronounced. I always thought it was Braun before he came to KU, but it's pronounced Brown. It's like one of those weird names that you got to pronounce it a way different way. I don't know.
Whatever, but that guy can hit a lot of threes. Jalen Wilson, kind of trash. I'll be completely honest. But Remy Martin, transfer from Arizona State, he's solid. And obviously, number 1 reason for them making a run, Joseph Yesufu, transfer from Drake University. Keep an eye on number 1. He's really athletic. I hope he gets a crazy dunk this year so we can see it all over our Twitter timelines. KU
Yesufu
over Creighton.
plays like 3 minutes a game.
You know what?
But he could make a big play that decides the game too. So
this is a Yesufu podcast, so we're all for Yesufu. Rutgers leading Notre Dame at the half. Okay. We have Iowa versus South Dakota State. This is tough. I think South Dakota State, if they drew anybody else in the round of 32, I think they could beat them. Iowa is the hottest team in the country, in my opinion. Yeah. South Dakota State's won 21 straight, but I think their luck ends here. I think Iowa rolls here. Keegan Murray, one of the best players in the country, number 15. Keep an eye on him and his twin brother Chris. They're really solid players.
Yeah, I don't think South Dakota State's got anyone who can stop Keegan Murray, and so I do like Iowa in this.
Yeah, they got Jordan Bohannon, who's like an 8th-year senior. That guy's been in college forever. He's kind of a Perry Ellis type player. So we got Iowa State versus Wisconsin. Terrible color matchup again here. Number 3, Wisconsin. I think they roll against Iowa State. I hate to say it. I think Iowa State's kind of bad. I think they're kind of garbage. They do have Isaiah Brockington, who's a really solid point guard for them. But I think beyond that, they don't have much that can score. So I think Wisconsin wins this game, and I think they win it pretty handedly.
This is a tough game to pick because it doesn't feel right picking either of these teams to go to the Sweet 16.
Yeah.
I literally can't in the scenario see Iowa State going to the Sweet 16, so I have to pick Wisconsin.
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
USC Auburn. I think that this is going to be a closer game than a lot of people think. I think USC, like I mentioned, they have a lot of good players. Nigel Thornberry can hit a 3 and hit some free throws. If you haven't caught up yet, if you haven't Googled it yet, please Google it. Stop the podcast now and Google it. Nigel Thornberry. He looks exactly like number 13, Drew Peterson. But I think Auburn, just with Jabari Smith and Walker Kessler and Bruce Pearl as a coach leading the way, I think they have too much star power and too much athleticism. I think they're going to overpower USC in this matchup.
I agree with you. I think it's tough. I don't know. Auburn, good tournament team. I know we don't like to look at the past, but I think when you got NBA dudes like that, athleticism kind of wins. So Auburn.
I agree. Iowa, Kansas. This is one that I sat and looked at and scratched my head for a long time. I think Kansas has a lot of good players. I think Kansas is a really deep team. I think that they have a lot of contributors. Obviously, Bill Self, I trust him as a coach. But Iowa, like I said, hottest team in the country right now. I mean, Keegan Murray is a solid player. He's averaging like 25 a game in the tournament, 25 throughout the year. I think that they have enough shooting to keep up with Kansas, and I think that they have enough shooting and they're hot enough to even overpower them here in the Sweet 16.
I virtually think these teams are actually pretty identical in like terms of how they play. 4 out, 1 in, rely on Keegan Murray, rely on Ochai Agbaji. I just think Bill Self is a better coach than Fred McCaffrey. So that's why I'd pick KU to win this game.
I think
agree.
that's fair. I can't disagree with
It's
that.
tough. It's
going to be a good
tough
game. Like, don't
yeah.
get me wrong, but I just think that's a tough one.
I trust them more.
Wisconsin, Auburn in my nightmare matchup of the year. I think that Wisconsin edges Auburn out here, and it hurts me to say that. I just think Auburn has slipped up a couple times throughout the year where I've really been surprised by their slip ups. I don't know if you can check out some of their games, but keep an eye on Johnny Davis. I think Johnny Davis is going to make a name for himself. Obviously, he's made a name throughout the year, but I think he's going to make a push for being a top draft pick in this tournament. I think that Wisconsin makes a lot of noise. I think that they beat Auburn here and advance.
I actually kind of agree with that. I think Wisconsin's going to like, you know how they play. They slow the game down, and Auburn's just not going to be able to get out of that methodical pace. And then it's just going to be slow grind game. And I think Wisconsin can grind out a W. No pun intended, but.
Yeah, I agree.
4 picks left.
Okay, Wisconsin, Kansas. I'm just going to be honest here. I think that the talent on Kansas just overpowers Wisconsin here. I don't think Wisconsin can keep up with them. I think it'll be a cute game, a cute little matchup that they'll talk about for a while. Ochai Agbaji versus Johnny Davis, player of the year candidates. I just think from a depth standpoint, from a coaching standpoint, from an experience standpoint, we got a blue blood versus Wisconsin. I think Kansas advances.
Yeah, I just don't see Wisconsin didn't get very far in the Big Ten tournament. I don't see how you can't win the Big Ten tournament. How are you going to go so far in the NCAA tournament?
It feels like they've gotten lucky that they've gotten this far in our bracket. This is where
that's what I'm saying. The reason they've gotten this far is because of favorable matchups.
Yeah,
not because I don't think they're a great team.
Yeah, they literally played a toothpaste brand in the first round.
So we got 3 1 seeds and a 4 seed. Good work, boys.
I don't know how that happened, but okay.
Rematch of last year. Who do you like?
Gonzaga, UCLA in the rematch. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I like UCLA edging Gonzaga in the matchup in the Final Four. I think that they're a little salty. I think that they retained a lot more players than Gonzaga has. I don't like Mark Few. He's had a DUI in the past, almost killed his 2 dogs. I like UCLA advancing to the championship.
I do agree. I don't like the DUI issue. I was going to pick, before you said that, I was going to pick Chet Holmgren because Craig said he crossed over Steph Curry. He crossed over Steph Curry like 10 years when he was in 7th grade. So, but you changed my mind. I'm going UCLA.
We're against DUIs on this pod.
Yeah, don't drink.
This podcast is anti-DUIs. Click it or ticket, take an Uber. We got Kansas versus Arizona. We got 1 versus 1. This is basically what the storytellers dream of. 1 versus 1. We'll see if this happens, but I think overall, I'm sorry to say this, Josh. I think Arizona just has a little bit more talent and they're a little bit more high paced on offense that Kansas might not be able to keep up with. I think Arizona edges them here, and I think Arizona advances the championship.
I think if Ochai Agbaji has a bad game, KU's not going to win. This is where he doesn't have a great game. Arizona wins.
He's got to have 25 plus to win this game, and I don't think he does that.
And then a rematch of the Pac-12 championship.
Rematch of the Pac-12 championship. This is going to be a tough game, but UCLA had a lead handedly. I'm gonna go with the edge here with UCLA and pick them over Arizona. It's going to be a surprise pick here. UCLA wins my national championship.
Well, I'll give you my prediction. Let me read something real. Okay, how many did UCLA beat Arizona in the regular season? Or do you know?
Yes, I think UCLA did. But they played each other twice.
Or 3 times, wasn't it?
Should have been 3 times. Yeah, you're right.
I think it's hard to beat a team 3 times. So I'm going UCLA.
I love it.
It's hard to beat a team 3 times.
I love
I
it.
didn't have a choice to make. I didn't come into this thinking UCLA would make it even to the Elite Eight, but here we are.
Here we are. UCLA is our Peakton College national champion. I don't really know how that happened, but we're going game by game, and this is what happened. You know what? It is what it is.
This was awesome.
It was a lot of fun. Yeah. I think just for the sake of time, we've been doing this for a long time. We don't really need to get into like players to watch. We've kind of gone through that game by game, games that are going to be exciting to watch. Just watch every single game. Gamble on every single game. Have fun. Gamble responsibly.
Watch more than 3 games.
Watch more than 3 games. We literally brought our college basketball expert on, and he confessed to the entire world he's watched 3 college basketball games. So, but you heard his analysis. He's a smart guy. He's got his head screwed on straight. He knows what he's talking about. Big KU fan. Josh, thanks for coming, man. Happy to have you.
No, it's always a pleasure. It's always fun talking about this. And we're going to have to take this video off. We're woefully off. No, keep it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how the bracket turns out and seeing how bad and how terrible our bracket was. But
we got a little bit of time. My only critique is it's too chalk. Because usually it's never this chalk. Sometimes it is. Don't get me wrong. But maybe this is the year where it's completely chalk. We did have Murray State going pretty far. I like that, but I thought we had too many. Or we had 1 3 seeds, but 3 1 seeds of the Final Four. That's tough.
Yeah, that is tough. But what are you gonna do? We went matchup by matchup. We did the best that we could. We gave our analysis, and Craig picked. So if it's terribly wrong, it's Craig's fault. And I can.
Okay, we got 5 minutes. I got to rant about something real quick.
I can sleep at night knowing that.
Okay, so how did Drake basketball not make the NIT, and Missouri State made the NIT, but we just beat Missouri State and had a better record than them, and then in the conference or even in the tournament and the same record? How do we not make the NIT and they make the NIT?
You're preaching to the choir, dude. I mean, what are we in, like the CBI tournament or whatever? I'm just hoping our players can get up for that, because you never like to be embarrassed in the CBI, but we belonged in the March Madness tournament, and if not, at least the NIT.
Yeah, it's crazy. I thought that was a raw deal, and like too many injuries. Like, it is what it is. But
I think
and you want to hear a big what if too? What if Joseph Yesufu would have stayed and Liam Robbins would have stayed?
I think we would be talking about UCLA versus Drake in the national championship.
I think Drake, we would be too.
With Drake edging them to win it all and hoist the trophy with Darian DeVries.
Yeah, Tucker DeVries too. Yeah, shout out to Tucker.
Shout out Tucker DeVries.
He's slaying at Peggy's.
Yeah, he's killing it, man. Shout out Tucker DeVries. I wanted to say one other thing too is I saw that Jenny Baranchek is a candidate for Coach of the Year. So shout out Jenny Baranchek. That is awesome to see. I'm happy for her. She has done a lot for us, by giving us no gear or anything, but by welcoming us with opening arms. So thank you, Jenny Baranchek, and the coaching staff at Drake, and now at Oklahoma. I'm an Oklahoma women's basketball fan, so hopefully Jenny can win Coach of the Year.
It'd be awesome.
I have a great idea to expand your guys' audience. You get Tucker DeVries NIL deal, Peakton College. You have them come on. Give them a sponsor, have them wear a t-shirt on campus. That's how you do it, boys.
Get him a hard hat.
That's a good idea. And that's
hard hat. There you go. Garrett Sturts, get Garrett Sturts, wear hard hats everywhere, boys.
We got to get some Peakton College stickers to slap on the blue hard hat that he's wearing around. I think they did those as like a handout at one of the games. Hard hats, blue hard hats.
Yeah, no, they did. Yeah, they did.
Yeah. All right. Well, go Bulldogs. Thank you all for listening. I know it's been quite the journey. If you made it all the way to episode 12C, thank you so much. Shout out UCLA for dubbing our tournament bracket.
Let's go.
First annual Peakton College March Madness tournament. Josh, we're looking forward to next year having you on.
Thank you. I'll watch 4 games next year.
Yeah, make sure you watch a couple more games.
Continuous improvement.
To be fair, I watched 3 full games from start to finish. Or actually, it was more than that because I watched some Orlando. So I probably watched 8 from start to finish, and then I just watched highlights or bits and pieces if it was on while I was doing something else.
I think literally the saddest part of all of that is a couple of weeks ago I was asking you for gambling advice on college basketball, and
when I saw that, I was like, dude, I about told you, dude, I'm not the expert.
Okay, well, that would have been nice for you to be transparent and tell me straight up, hey, man,
I think that's called asymmetric information, where the buyer or the seller has more information than the buyer. That was a market failure according to economics.
The point is, I have a lot of faith in you as a friend, as a college basketball analyst.
I was a bad friend. I'll admit. I'll admit I was a bad friend.
That's all right. I can move past it. Let's good vibes to win a lot of money this tournament, boys. Let's hopefully next episode,
Good vibes.
episode 11 of Peakton College, we are a lot richer. We're going to talk about our Dogecoin investment next episode as well. So stay tuned for that. But
I lost a lot. I lost some money on that.
Josh, thanks for joining us. Craig, always a pleasure. Love you guys.
It's awesome. Thanks, guys. Love
All
you,
right,
boys.
thanks.
Bye.
Bye.